Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Addison Station podcast. I'm Tommy Van Treek here with my co-host Ian Van Every. It is a pleasure to be back, and we have a lot to talk about today. We have a Ryne Sandberg tribute with his recent passing. We are going over some recaps of some series in the past, the Royals and the White Sox, as well as talk about the future with the Cubs within the Brewers series that is currently going on as we are talking right now, along with the trade deadline coming up and what we expect to see from that. But let's get into it.
2-2. That's it well. Deep right field. Hernandez watches the by Pete Crow Armstrong.
Addison is next.
Biggest thing is Ryne Sandberg passed away yesterday. It is July 29th as we are recording. He passed away on July 28th, and that was rough.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaking day for Cubs fans, and the end of the broadcast on the Cubs Brewers game was kind of emotional. It was like it turned into this really great start to the game. Then you lose the lead, and then it got as sad as it gets as you basically lose one of the greatest Cubs ever. Someone that, besides Ernie Banks, I would rank up there as, top 2, top 3 Cubs of all time. So it was a rough day yesterday to be a Cubs fan for sure.
Yeah, I mean, here I heard it in the horrible way of my dad was like scrolling on Instagram and he saw an Instagram account that said Ryne Sandberg passed away. He's like, why are people joking about Ryne Sandberg dying? And then next thing you know, there's like breaking news on the TV, and my dad's jaw just dropped, and mine kind of did too. I mean, Ryne Sandberg was a great player, but also the way that he was able to mentor the people around him, the leadership that he provided. I mean, he was quick. He was like small and fast, but he had the power still, and he kind of brought the energy back to Wrigley Field, when they weren't doing the best back then. And those star players that really make you see the light in the team and just make you love baseball again, you don't see often. I think Ryne Sandberg is one of those. And, having to go through the whole emotion, I got a bit emotional yesterday because, you go through someone that I looked up to, all my life, being a Cubs fan. I have 10 of his baseball cards. And now, you're sitting there he's not with us anymore. But his number's still up at Wrigley Field. He's still there, and the next home game is gonna be something else. That's gonna be an emotional one. Yeah.
Bring a box of Kleenex for that one, for sure. But
I might be going to the next home game. Because Friday or Saturday I might be going. But yeah, it's very sad, and to all the fans out there and to his family, to the Cubs, everyone's with you. A lot of love sent your way, and, he'll still be in our hearts with his jersey flying at Wrigley. Hopefully the Cubs win today for him.
Yeah, let's hope Craig Counsell gives a nice little speech in the locker room, get this series for Rhino.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even considering that, obviously, two of us are way too young to have watched him play. He was way before our time. But just the legacy, we feel it. We know Ryne Sandberg. I couldn't tell you who the, backup catcher was on that team, but I can tell you that Ryne Sandberg was there. So, anyways, moving on from the sad and heartbreak of Ryne Sandberg, let's go back to what I believe we left off on, which was the Royals series, which was,
they sucked.
Hold on, one sec.
Hello?
All right. Now, we are recording right now. So, I'll just restart and jump right back in. 3, 2. Okay. So, now, moving on from the heartbreak that was the Ryne Sandberg passing, let's jump right into the Cubs-Royals series, which was not fun, to say the least, other than one game. One game was pretty fun, which I actually went to. The other two were hard to watch, I will say.
Yeah, the games are really hard to watch. Made me look forward to the Chicago Bears season. That's how it felt. Because it went downhill pretty quickly. I mean, we didn't really compete. I think we went in there kind of. I don't think the Cubs necessarily went in there cocky. I think the fans did, and the Royals showed up. The Royals have been on a win streak, so and they came to play, and that's why we play the game at the end of the day. There were a few horrible errors. I hate to mention Kyle Tucker and Suzuki, but there were a few errors that should have been made that I think kind of cost us a game or two. But at the end of the day, I feel like that's why we play baseball. I wasn't they sucked. Don't get me wrong, but I wasn't horribly upset about the series, as you're bound to lose a series here and there, and that's one that kind of happened. But then you go ahead and you see the next series, which I'm getting past the Royals because I could care less about that. But then you see the next series, which is an important one, which is the White Sox. Crosstown series. The White Sox fans are posting on their stories on Snapchat. Oh, we're going to sweep you guys. Oh, we're going to do this. Well, guess what? I don't care. And then I saw the first game, and I actually thought we were going to get swept. 11 runs in 4 innings. Shota is a very competitive pitcher, but he was leaving a lot of balls over the plate. He was throwing uncompetitive pitches, not on purpose, obviously, but he was missing a spot slightly where he was supposed to hit that outside corner fastball that was, middle to outside, and they were piecing those the opposite way. You saw a couple hanging curveballs here and there. Does not help. And Shota's energy didn't seem to be there. When you're playing crosstown series and you see Shota especially, he's normally hyped up and everything. I didn't see that out of him. So I don't know what fully happened out of him, but I would like for him to execute more. And then, our hitters, I want to see us play small ball more. I don't remember the last time we bunted with guys on first and second, no outs.
No, and looking at the White Sox series, I draw a lot of comparisons to that from the Yankees series because of how it started and then how it finished. Overall, though, I mean, when you look at, you're basically saying yeah, I get it. The Cubs are or the White Sox are on a little bit of a win streak at the time, and we're starting to play good, but they're still the White Sox. In the thought that how did they just bully Shota on a day where Shota wasn't Shota? You still got to remember these are big league hitters. As bad as they are and as horrible as the record they had last year and a team they are now, still big league hitters. So any pitcher can have an off night, no matter who it is, and you can get totally rocked by pretty much any team. And yes, his energy just wasn't there at all. I didn't see the Shota that I'm used to seeing. Crosstown series, you know what? I'm still going to take the fact that we've lost one game this year and last year combined against the White Sox.
12-2, I believe, is the record against the White Sox the past 2 years.
Would I have wished that we had a little bit closer of a game, more competitive, or even, just not get blown out like that in the first 3 innings? Yes. But when I look at the series, and if a White Sox fan talks to me on the street, we still took it 2-3 from 2 really good games the next 2 days.
Yeah. That's one thing you see with the Cubs is they're always able to bounce back, and it's not like the result. It's how you get past it and how you respond. And they've been responding well to rough losses, like you said, the Yankee series. Going back to what I said about small ball, it's the thing of we rely on our hitting too much because we know we can hit. To where in the maybe the early innings we'll have a guy in first and second, no outs, and we'll have maybe Matt Shaw up. Yeah, he's been hot recently, but that's a guy you have top of the lineup up next. You gotta bunt them over, and then you're giving the top of the lineup hit to score. A hit scores 2 runs. I'd prefer that than getting ground ball double plays, which we've kind of been getting into when we've had guys in scoring position recently, which has been unlucky. Like we're one of the best running teams in the MLB. Why don't we do more hit and runs? It's something that uh, as a collegiate baseball player myself, I think about. Uh, I do think the Cubs are really good at hitting. I mean, as you saw, when we were down 12-0 in the last 2 innings. We scored 5 against the White Sox. It's a lot of runs. And then, the Cubs hitting was good the next 2 days. But we have to be able to switch the mindset and play small ball when we have to play small ball. We can't just rely on that hitting.
One thing that I'm looking at for in terms of small ball is the best bunter on the team, and probably the best bunter, one of the best bunters in baseball, is on a major cold streak. PCA, let's face it, is not playing good at all. He had a couple key hits in the final game of that White Sox series. He had 2 doubles, but he's not himself. Especially after watching last night which was the first series of Brewers game, and how frustrated he's getting. He's coming up in these situations, first and second, a lot of times 2 outs. But even with 2 outs, PCA is very capable of hitting or bunting for a hit, or even, he does sacrifice bunts all the time. But another thing is, when you're Craig Counsell and you're looking at the rest of your team, other than Pico or Armstrong, how many players on our Cubs team actually bunt? Almost nobody. Nobody. There's been like 0 other bunts all season. I think it starts with PCA. He's on a cold streak. He needs some confidence. It starts with Kyle Tucker, who's going through the same thing. And like you said, the bottom of the lineup. Craig Counsell wants to rely on the bottom of the lineup because, it's the best anchor of the lineup in baseball.
Bush is like batting 280, and he's batting 8th. Like, I'm not complaining.
Well,
but
now he's leading off. But still, I mean, I do think, people are saying, like, okay, Cubs, oh my God, 6 through 9 in the lineup. They're the best 6 through 9 team in the lineup in baseball. Well, here's the thing. The entire lineup is switching right now. We were starting off with Happ, Tucker, Suzuki. We started off with PCA batting 7th. That helped the numbers a lot. Now he's been up for a while. But now you kind of flipped everything. Swanson's now in the bottom of the lineup. Happ is at the bottom of the lineup. Horner's continued to slide down, even though Nico Horner has had, like, really good season. So the Cubs are not going to be that team for the rest of the season. They're going to change, and they're changing right now.
I mean, at the end of the day, the Cubs will hit. We both can admit that. No matter where you put the hitters, they're going to hit, and the hitters know that too. And one thing that I looked at, kind of moving on to the Brewers series. The Brewers series is happening right now. Last night, Mizorowski pitched, gave 40 pitches in the first inning. We scored 3 runs off of that. And then next thing you know, Boyd couldn't throw a strike to save his life. So in the 4th inning, he gave up 4 runs. Next thing you know, the Cubs are down 4-3. They lose 8-4 from uncompetitive bullpen. And the Brewers have a bit better of a bullpen than I think we do, in my opinion. But I was looking at the game last night and going back to, what's his name, PCA. He was actually hitting the ball well. There were 2 flyouts that he had that he kind of just got under it, or one hit the end of the bat, but if he barreled them up, they would have been gone. I think that is more so the idea of having to realize what pitch is coming and adjusting the barrel and bat path to it. And I think he does realize what pitch is coming well, maybe just like a split second too late. And that's why you see him barely missing these balls. Like, he'll be hitting pop fly after pop fly, but they're still like, when you see them off the bat and you aren't listening to them, I think they're home runs. So I stand up, and then you turn around and it's a routine pop fly. Like, that's how good they look.
The same thing. Yeah.
So you can actually see that he's still like kind of in his element, but he's just barely missing. And now it's going to be the small adjustments it takes to get out of the slump. And everyone gets in slumps throughout the year. The best players do. Like, Cal hasn't hit a home run in 3 games. That's like horrible for him. So you're looking at it, and everyone's going to be in a slump. Happ's in a slump right now. PCA isn't doing as bad as Happ, in my opinion. but he's getting frustrated because he's not being able to execute. At the end of the day, I think they have to go to the foundation of your team, play for the team, and just keep trying to do your job, and it'll eventually come. Because I know the Cubs in the playoffs just heat up. That's something that
Yes.
they do. And that's something that I feel like, especially with this kind of younger team, you will definitely see them heat up in the playoffs because those younger guys, they love playoffs. So I'm not worried about that. Within the Brewers series, though, the thing I'm worried about is just being able to take advantage of mistakes from other pitches and errors that the other team makes.
Yes. And what I will say is, I mean, yeah, we're having a couple guys are having a slump. Some guys are hot. That's going to happen. Mid-season wall, as they say it. What I'm looking forward to tonight is, yes, tonight when we're recording this at least, we're going up against Priester once again, who is not only a born Cubs fan from the Chicagoland area, as we were talking earlier, but we absolutely crushed him early in the season. That is probably one of my favorite games of the entire season so far. In Milwaukee on Apple TV Plus, they went with an opener, did not work. Pretty sure Michael Bush I think Michael Bush had a grand slam in that game. PCA had a 2-homer game. We were just hitting, like just straight up lacing the ball. And when you're talking about, PCA, I knew this was going to happen at some point. I feel like we were talking about it earlier in the last couple episodes. Eventually, he's going to go through a little bit of a slump because he's just.
It's
He's a
bound to
rookie.
happen when you're as hot
Or
as
not really
he
a rookie,
was.
but he's young. He's young. He's a hothead. He's got energy, which I love. But eventually, that's not going to, last. So, anyways, in terms of Brewer Series, we got Priester against Ray tonight, who Colin Ray has been, I would say a little bit streaky of a pitcher so far this year. But the thing is, the upside is really good for Colin Ray. The downside isn't all that crazily bad. Then we have a Shota Imanaga performance on tomorrow afternoon, actually. So hopefully he can bounce back in a game where he needs to bounce back. The Cubs, yes, they need this series. Here's how I stand on it. The Cubs go back home for a while. The Brewers, while they're red hot, how long can they keep this hot streak up? And then we end up playing the Brewers in a 5-game series at Wrigley, which is massive.
That's gonna
At
be
home.
big.
That's gonna be big. So hopefully we can regather there. But I do want to win these next 2 games because they're key games. And I will say, after last night, we can talk about how bad this game 1 performance was, how bad we got just kicked around.
I think both
starting
teams
really
played
well.
bad. The Brewers gave up 2 errors themselves, so
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it's 1 loss. It's 1 loss for the Cubs. It's 1 win for the Brewers. We're only a game back, not only in the division, but in the MLB, in the National League. It's gonna be fine. And my this is not gonna kill us. So hopefully we can come out of this. And another thing that we need to talk about, Tommy, and a big thing that's going to come up and change our season is the MLB trade deadline. We have, at the time of this recording video, 2 days until the deadline ends. It is July 29th at
so
about 12 o'clock.
I'm putting this out there of what has happened in the past. If the Cubs don't trade for anyone, I'm not going to be happy, but that is such a Tom Ricketts thing to do. I'll be like, you know what? The best team in baseball right now. We'll be fine. We don't need to upgrade. We don't need to upgrade right now. We'll be fine. I think we're gonna, but it's really dependent on who's the starting pitcher that we're gonna get. There's talks about Heaney. There's talks about Gore. What's the other guy that you talked about earlier?
Cease.
Recording. Yeah, Cease. There's a lot of pitchers that we can get. And we just need kind of that one good starter so we don't have to have that bullpen day. Because currently we have Tyone, solid. We have Boyd, solid except for last night. Shota, normally solid. Rhea, decent. And we need like another decent to solid pitcher. because we can't be having those bullpen days. We need that fifth man starter, and currently Ben Brown is just not doing it for me. Ben Brown needs to be in the minors. In the playoffs, he's going to be such a liability because you're just going to go down against these good teams that are able to hit his just hanging curveball. Just going to go down so quickly. And yeah, he has a good fastball. So does everyone else in the MLB. Half the people there have a good fastball because they throw 95 or above. Aroldis Chapman's known for his fastball. He has a better fastball than Ben Brown. So there's just I'm not a Ben Brown fan. I think he can be good, but I think he needs development, and I think the Cubs trying to use him right now is not a good idea. So we're looking for that fifth starter to fill the spot to at least be pretty good to where 60 to 70% of the time he'll get us there. Because currently Ben Brown's at a 5% rate of he won't lose us a game.
Yeah. It's actually kind of true. I think in terms of the rotation, when you're looking at guys that can, start versus bullpen versus minors versus we don't know what's going to happen with them, I think Ben Brown is definitely send him down after the deadline is the goal.
Before the deadline is preferred.
I don't want to see Ben Brown until 2026, preferably.
Ben Brown against the Brewers.
Oh, God. I will say, actually, he is lights out against Milwaukee. Ridiculous.
He's thrown one game against Milwaukee.
2. They've both been unbelievable. But
what about every single other game he's pitched in?
Yeah, I know that's true. Anyways, so back to Ben Brown in the minors. I think Cade Horton, he's fine for now. I do think we could see him get sent down before the playoffs, though.
I think he'll get sent down before the playoffs. But I think currently the Cubs are just going to try and use him up. On those bullpen days, even if we get another starter, they honestly might push him to the bullpen. He'd be a good bullpen arm.
I actually don't think they will. And here's why I say
I don't think they will, but I think he has a good opportunity if the Cubs need him in the playoffs to go to bullpen.
It's true. But I do think, when you look at his entire career in the minors and college and high school, he's never come out of the bullpen ever in his entire life. But I also think, depending on who the Cubs get at the deadline, I think you have Javier Assad is coming. He's on his way back. He's on a rehab assignment. And Colin Ray is someone that we know can go flip-flop both places. Those are two guys that can be effective in the pen and in the rotation if we needed them to. I see them in the playoffs being both in the pen. I can see a rotation with Boyd, Imanaga, Tyone, deadline acquisition, maybe Horton, maybe one of those two guys again. Maybe Ray stays, maybe Assad goes in the.
I think Ray is going to stay. I think Ray has earned a spot to stay. I think, as you said, there's so many options that we have with our prospects and everything. The whole thing is when you're looking at the MLB playoffs, when you get into the playoffs, even if someone gets injured, you aren't allowed to call someone up. That's a problem. And, with not saying how injury prone our pitchers are, but in case, having Horton in that bullpen to where, he could throw in the bullpen. He could be a long reliever if someone gets shelled. But, let's say one of our starters just gets absolutely injured. Well, then we have another starter there immediately that we don't have to rely on then a bullpen game. So that's what I was thinking of, ever in doubt. Because, if you look at the 2016 Cubs, that one bullpen arm was Jake Arrieta. Because he has thrown in relief before. But he was also our starting ace. And then we also had Aroldis Chapman and some of the best possible relievers at the time. So we didn't have to worry, but there's a person of Jake Arrieta was a spot to fill if you needed to move someone to relief, even though he was our best pitcher. Which, as you saw in Game 7, he pitched a day before and he was warming up in the bullpen. Because he did not care.
The 2016 team, I think, was the biggest strong suit was the rotation. I would argue that was the most underrated part about that team and probably one of the best rotations in Cubs history.
Other than John Lackey.
And, what was his face? Jason Hamill. He was kind of streaky.
Hamill, when he was on, he was on.
That's the thing. He was
The
streaky. He was
the
streaky.
the big thing that I liked about Lackey is he was like a bulldog. You know, he would always fight. He's pissed off on the mound, and you like to see that. That's like what you want to see. But
But I mean,
it
when you
got
look
to a
at the
point where
rotation,
he had to throw more changeups and curveballs because his curveballs would hang too much, and then to change up from a fastball is just swinging like 2 feet down, and so that's when Lackey kind of got pieced, and then there's a missed strike call, and the next thing you know he's thrown out because he's telling the umpire to go take something out of somewhere that it shouldn't be. So
I mean, when you talk about that rotation, though, the biggest thing was we had. I don't think people talk about this, and I talk about this all the time, maybe too much. We had 3 Cy Young candidates. Lester and Hendricks were both, I think, 2 and 3 behind Scherzer. Scherzer ended up winning that award that year, I think. And then Arrieta was not that far behind, and
because Arrieta won the Cy Young. I was gonna say Arrieta won the Cy Young a year before.
Crazy.
The biggest thing about Lester is part of the Cy Young. They look at everything and they look at the ability to hold on runners. And if you actually looked at where he was docked the most points, pitching wise, he was great and he was a bit better than Scherzer. Holding on runners, minus
we
10.
all know John Lester, just unbelievable at holding runners at first.
He'll throw his glove over.
He could throw his whole glove over. That was.
But yeah.
I think that was one of the greatest, most funny plays I've ever seen watching a Cubs game.
But yeah.
That, the Javier Baez juke against the Pirates, the little deke move, I don't know what I want to call that. What else? There's been some good ones over the years, but that Lester glove toss is up there, for sure. I will say, actually, no. We did see one the other night. I want to briefly talk about this. Cubs-Royals game in the first game of the series. Royals hit a home run to start it off. I don't know if anybody saw this. There was a guy that literally dove for that ball and fell into the basket and laid down in the basket. Hopefully he's okay. I hope that guy didn't hurt himself doing that. But that takes guts. That guy was going for that baseball if it was the last thing he was going to do.
All right, I'm going to text you a photo, and if you can put it in the video, this is my new favorite Cubs photo. But
your new favorite photo?
Yeah, look at your phone. I just sent it to you.
Okay, look at my phone.
If we could put that on the screen in the podcast right here,
ladies and gentlemen,
it's a new Cubs logo.
If we put it, the photo is on the screen right now. If it's not, that means we edited this entire part out. But that's okay. That's an amazing photo. I have not seen that.
I saw it. I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and then it says this defines the Chicago Cubs fans, and then it said Cubs.
Well, okay, I will say this, and let's. I know last episode we talked a little bit about trivia and Cubs history. Let's see if you know this.
Oh God.
Do you know the actual reason why the baskets at Wrigley Field were installed?
Yeah,
and
because
it's not to catch home runs.
I know, because fans would fall onto the field, and then players would help them back up via the ivy. So that's how they had to get them reinstalled.
Sort of. That's part of it. But
I saw that on ESPN 30 and 30, so don't tell me it's sort of.
I heard when I was touring Wrigley Field just so long ago. Oh, and funny thing is, as soon as I looked up the reason for basket installment, the first thing that came up was a video of that guy falling on the basket. But anyways, fans were jumping and going into the field, yeah, but I think it was back in the 60s and early 70s, which actually the baskets were installed in 1970. So before that, the Cubs were so beyond bad for a period of time. I heard that they were doing literal shows. Like there'd be guys doing like comedy or some kind of act, and sometimes they would fall back and they'd fall into the field. So they had to install a basket. That's what I heard.
It's the same thing of fans falling onto the field.
Sort of, but
so screw you. I got it right.
2025. Those baskets are still working. for the reasons that they installed him.
But there's one last thing we got to do now. Now we talked about the trade deadline. We talked about everything. There's one last thing we have to do. The Brewers did sweep the Dodgers. And I don't know if you remember the last video I said, if the Brewers swept the Dodgers, we do a giveaway of a Dodgers hate shirt. So, what you got to do to enter in it, we're going to be very specific. It's very hard. You have to type Cubs in the comment section of this YouTube video. Go down to the description, type Cubs. That's all you have to do to enter it. And in a week from whenever we post a video, that is when we'll be doing the giveaway. I'll do put everyone's name on a wheel, spin. Whoever wins it, I'll shoot them an email to ask them for their information. It's pretty simple, but hey, that's what we do on this channel. Stupid things, because we hate the Dodgers.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Keep calm, hate the Dodgers shirt coming out. Cubs in the description to enter. That's all you got to do. Very easy. Very simple. Very simple, Tommy. Mm-hmm. Well, sorry, Tommy, that you have to do that.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't think that they were actually going to sweep the Dodgers again. When you said that, I was like, oh. Okay.
I didn't think so either, but...
Yeah. I mean, the one against the Cardinals that we did the last time, that didn't end up hitting. When it was like they were up 18 runs, or have to win by 18 runs, and we were up by like...
They got the
10
13.
or 11 in the fourth. We got the 13. When you said this one, I was like, okay, there's more of a chance, but
I think I said score 18 runs in a game, and we got the 13. Because I remember, it was like the third or the fourth, they got like 11, and then I got a text message from you saying, bro, they're at 11.
And you're like, oh, it's probably like the ninth inning. It's like the fourth. And you're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
But no, the first game of that series, I was like, okay, they gotta win. Then the second game, I'm like, uh-oh. They're a game away. And then I was like watching the Brewers just sweep them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all we got there, Tommy. It's been fun. Obviously, rest in peace to Ryne Sandberg, of course. Let's hope for a series win. Ray versus Priester tonight. We got Shota going tomorrow, at least the time we're recording this. Hopefully, if you're watching, you're saying, oh yeah, they won 6-0 both times, or 10-0.
Light work.
Light work. Easy money. So, hopefully the Cubs get someone good at the deadline. If they don't, it's going to be a salty episode next week, or whenever we just had to record. Hopefully soon.
There might be a big crack in my camera.
Yeah, there could be. I could have to pick another. I could be forced outside.
Whoa.
Could be. It's possible. I could be so angry I just, sleeping on the front lawn. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, folks. And, of course, Tommy, any last words? Peace out.
Go Cubs. Screw the Brewers.
Go Cubs. Screw the Brewers. Peace out.